Hallo, hier ist Flo und Gab von Metal Hammer. Ich stehe hier zusammen mit Michael Romeo von Symphony X und wir sprechen jetzt ein bisschen darüber, wie es zu seiner Karriere kam, wann er angefangen hat, Gitarre zu spielen, und danach bekommt ihr noch einen kleinen Ausblick in seine geheimen Gitarrentricks und Aufwärmübungen. Okay, Michael, so when and why did you start playing guitar?
Probably because of Kiss, when I was younger. I think my first guitar was probably when I was 14, like an acoustic, just fucking around. But it was probably Kiss. I think at that age I was a pretty big Kiss fan, and Zeppelin too, all those bands. So that's probably the first reason. And then I had an acoustic guitar first, just noodling around. But it wasn't until I think I was like 16 when I really, got an electric guitar and I really started to play. I was more into metal stuff, getting a little older. It was like Priest and Sabbath and Maiden and all that stuff. So 16 is really when I started, like electric guitar. I got some lessons early on, just chords, pentatonic scales and stuff. And then like, by the time I think I was 18, I was more into the player stuff, Randy Rhoads and Uli Roth, and that's when I really started practicing a lot.
Okay, so what was the turning point that kept you playing and starting the whole musical career?
I don't know if there really was a turning point. I mean, it was always something I just loved to do. I always loved music. Even when I was really young, I played piano a little bit, and the guitar just felt real natural, and it was just something I loved. I loved music and I loved playing. And like I said, when I was 18, I was getting more into like the player stuff and the technique and the just the real guitar playing, the aspects of guitar playing. So I think by the time I was like 20, it's what I knew I wanted to do, nothing else.
Many of your fans are very impressed by your musical skills and abilities. So how did you develop and train your musical style?
Well, that too, just gradual over time. I think there were phases, over the years of guys I really liked that helped. That like you would take something from them. Like Randy Rhoads, it's like he was the first guy that I fucking learned like every song, every solo, every little nuance, And then from him it was like Al Di Meola, Malmsteen, and then all those guys like Paul Gilbert and Vai and all that stuff. So I think along the way you take little pieces of the guys, Marty Friedman, Jason Becker too. That was a pretty big influence there. But over time you just take a little bit of each guy and you just keep developing, and you just kind of get your own style. You might even be like a classical piano song or something, and that's something that wasn't made for guitar, and then you try to find a way to do it, and then that's why I like some of the tapping stuff. It's like it was came from figuring something out that wasn't supposed to be for the guitar. So I mean, it could be anything. It could be other guitar players. It could be piano players, violin. It could be any kind of instrument. But learning these things and trying to do it on the guitar is like you kind of get your own vocabulary. You get your own licks. You get your own way of doing things. So I mean, over time, it's like you take a little bit from other players, but you still try to do your own thing. Try to make your own phrases and your own licks.
What do you think are the most important, let's say, rock metal songs which every guitar player has to practice?
Oh man, I mean everybody's different. I don't know. For me, like I can tell you, for me, what I used to practice. And I pretty much said it was like the early Randy Rhoads stuff was a big part, and the Malmsteen, and and just all those bands, learning like all the Sabbath tunes or the old Scorpions with Uli, or even like Rush or anything. I mean, I like a lot of different stuff. So I don't think there's like one tune that's like that's the song you got to learn. I mean, there's a lot of songs like that. Everybody's different.
Okay, and which Symphony X song should everybody know?
It's the same thing. I mean, everybody's different. You know, the earlier stuff has more of the neoclassical thing, and then the later stuff is a little more metal, and you know, some of the solo stuff's a little. It's not as neoclassical. You know, it's a little bit of everything. But I mean, a lot of guitar players that we've been out on the tour with, and they've come up after the show. They're always talking about the Eva Seduction solo, because it has this weird glissando thing in it. You know, so it's like, but that's a good example, just like a lick, you know, where it's like trying to find something new. You know, not stealing it from anyone else, or not trying to, you know, practice some speed thing. It was like, well, what can I put in there that would make this solo kind of different? You know, the original kind of thing. You know, I mean, I'm sure it's been done, but to have its own thing, you know, where that kind of makes that solo stand out. So that one probably.
Okay, wie ihr jetzt gerade mitbekommen habt, ist es wichtig, dass man eben nicht nur den ganzen technischen Kram beherrschen kann, sondern auch an das Ganze mit Gefühl rangeht. Aber jetzt wird euch Michael noch ein bisschen